This is my first time making a turkey, and I'm going to show you in detail everything I did as well as the recipe I used so that you can learn from me if it is your first time making a turkey as well. I know it's after Thanksgiving, but maybe you got a turkey on sale like me and stuck it in the freezer. Maybe you're saving it for Christmas. Either way, let's get into it. I'm going to be following the Moody Foodies recipe, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now I ended up loving it. So we're starting with the brine, and I'm doing this the night before I cook it. I'm adding 2.5 tablespoons to my 13-pound turkey, rubbing that all over, even underneath the turkey and in the armpits and everywhere else. And then I put that in the fridge to brine overnight. Okay, so far I haven't done anything wrong yet. So far everything's going well. This is the next day, and now I'm going to make the compound butter. I only started out with 6 sticks because in the video she's only using 6 sticks, but in her written recipe she says 2 pounds. So I ended up adding 2 more sticks later on just for good measure. And then for herbs, I'm just chopping up some rosemary, thyme, and sage. I forgot to mention that the butter has to be softened because you're going to mix it up with the spoon later on and you want it to be very, very soft. Now for the seasonings, I mostly followed her recipe. I did 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, even though she suggested 1 teaspoon. I did 1 tablespoon of Cajun seasoning and then 1 teaspoon of garlic. And then I just used my spoon to get that all mixed up. This was a lot harder than I expected. Now that I'm done with the butter, I took my turkey out of the fridge, and sure enough, it was purple by now. So I'm just patting it dry, and this is the first thing I wish I would have done differently is I wish I would have patted it down extremely well because there were some places on the turkey that were still wet, and so the butter was not really sticking. Now what I'm doing here is cutting up a piece of cheesecloth to truss my turkey because I misplaced my food grade twine. You usually do this with twine, but yeah, I couldn't find it. Now I'm just stuffing the turkey with carrots, onions, celery, and lemon, and this is another thing I wish I would have done differently. You can see I'm struggling, and I wish I would have trussed the turkey after I stuffed it. This is not a big deal at all because I managed, but I'm just making mental notes of how to make this easier for myself next time. And like I said, maybe we can both benefit from watching me do this for the first time because these are the small little behind the scene details that are not talked about in a nice aesthetic recipe video, you know? Now I'm just separating the skin from the turkey, and I wasn't really making it that far with my hand, so I ended up using my wooden spoon. And now it's finally time to cover the turkey in butter, and as you can see, I was way too excited, and I forgot to put butter underneath the skin. That should be the first step. So, okay, I went back and did that. Now I'm just putting some more vegetables on the bottom of my roasting rack, and I'm separating the onions because I have a really small, shallow roasting rack. It's just what I'm working with. And then I added the rack and the turkey, and then I added in some white wine. I'm using Chardonnay, just like she said, and chicken broth. By the way, this whole prep work that I did for the turkey in the morning before even roasting it took me about an hour. Granted, it was probably longer because I'm filming, but just give yourself more time than you think you'll need. I had some herbs left over, so I put them in the bottom of the pan, and then I put the turkey in the oven at 400 degrees for 1 hour. After the hour was up, I melted the rest of the butter and then put my cheesecloth in it preemptively, but that's okay. This is the turkey the first time coming out of the oven. It's already beautiful. Now I'm basting it for the first time with that butter and then draping the cheesecloth over it and basting it again. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get a baster or a turkey injector in time, so I wasn't able to inject the turkey, but you would do it here on this step. Also, mini note, I didn't like putting the butter mixture over the cheesecloth because you can see that the herbs were not sitting directly on the turkey, so on the next go, I removed the cheesecloth before basting the turkey with the butter. I had just baked it for 45 minutes at 325, and I was doing a temperature check just to get an idea of where I'm at so far. So like I said, I put the butter mixture with the fresh herbs directly on the turkey, put the cheesecloth back over, baked that for another 45 minutes at 325, took it out, did another temperature check. I'm at 140, so I'm getting close. And now I'm pulling the broth directly from the bottom of the pan and just heavily basting that. Like I said, this would be a lot easier with a baster, but I put it back in the oven for another 45 minutes at 325, took it out, did a temperature check, and saw that I'm now really close. Okay, it needs just a few more degrees, but I don't want to overdo it. So I'm heavily basting one more time, again, to overcompensate for the fact that I didn't have that injector. And now I don't know if you can tell, but I'm pulling the broth out from the bottom of the roasting pan just to give the turkey a little more room to breathe so it's not sitting in liquid and getting soggy. And then I'm pouring the rest of the butter mixture all over the top and then brushing it around so it's not just a lot of herbs on the top. Now I'm covering and basting the cheesecloth because I don't want that to be crispy and burned, so I wanted to wet the cheesecloth. And then I put it back in the oven one more time for about 20 minutes, like I said, because I'm almost there. Did a temperature check, and sure enough, I was at 164. I would have liked to pull it out a little bit sooner than that, actually, to account for the carryover cook, cook, but this was fine. Now I can uncover it for the last time, throw away the cheesecloth, and then I'm just pouring some broth over the top before I let the turkey rest for a few minutes. This is the final product. I'm very impressed with it, very pleased with the recipe. It was really juicy compared to an ordinary turkey, so I can't even imagine when I do get the injector. I ended up getting this turkey for $5 because it was on sale, and I was really excited to make it after Thanksgiving on my own time where I could just focus on learning how to make a turkey for the first time, because I didn't want my first time to be on Thanksgiving when people are depending on the turkey, you know? Afterwards, I deconstructed and I kept the fat for gravy, the bones for stock, and pulled apart all the meat.